Welcome back, Helldivers. It looks like we do have that new major order finally dropping on us. It does feel more like a filler type major order. However, Arrowhead has said in the past there are no such things as filler MOs. This one targeting to rebuild York Supreme and pulling some resources off of a couple of planets. They say here the liberation of Osha Une, one of the Terminated Hive worlds, responsible for the production of the Gloom, which we do see it pulling back drastically, was an incredible triumph. Now, I don't feel like it had as much gravitas, as much impact as some of the other conflicts we had, like Popley 9, Malevelon Creek, or Calypso. But needless to say, it was artificially extended, and I think that took a lot of the wind out of the sails there. But now is the time to place humanity first. So we're going to be fending 2 planets here. We did liberate Shit. Not really sure how to pronounce that planet, but the one city on it was whole, interestingly enough. Because we liberated that city and that was worth 46%, we are actually able to liberate that planet, stopping the defense and keeping one of the 2 planets completely safe for quite a while, since that is a 2-day defense on this planet here. Now, we did do the right thing and immediately move the DSS back over to Alaraf. It was temporarily on Shet just to finish up that planet, and it did go to Alaraf because this one is 2 planets away from Andar. Right? It's the north of the 2 planets that we have to keep defended so we can get enough resources off with. So Alifar 11 is going to be the planet in between, which is an ice biome. Alaraf itself does have a couple of megacities on it, worth about 60% of the planet, so I think we're definitely going to get this one knocked out, keeping the Illuminate at least 2 planets back away from Endar and Astaroth Prime. So looking at Alaref right here, we have a thick fog for the environmental condition, which is really negligible impact, I feel. The other planet that's under attack right now, Hydrobius, which we had to take during a previous major order a couple months ago. That one's going to be a dry planet with some tremors on it. We're definitely going to lose that defense mission, even though it is 35 more hours. And then that one will put it, again, 2 planets away from either Astaroth Prime or Andar. But once Hydrobius falls, we thought we could get away from Hellmire and all the fire tornadoes, but that will open up Carlia as a target, and Carlia has intense heat and fire tornadoes. Except instead of bugs this time, we have Illuminate. It just seems like no matter what we do, we can't get away from the fire tornadoes every weekend. This is just pure insanity, but it should be relatively easy to defend that planet. I think at that point, Carlia will be one of the main ones we will definitely have to defend just to keep them off a little bit. I think looking at the planets here, Alaraf will obviously be a 2-day invasion, same with Alethfar 11. Most likely because they have mega cities on them, so they have a little bit extra HP, and they take a little bit extra time for the invaders to take those planets, it seems, in the past, unless Joel tweaks something in the code. With 6.5 days left on the major order right now, I think we'll have plenty of time to keep Andar safe. Astaroth Prime, I think, is going to be the one that we're going to have to really fend off because there is one planet in the chain to get there. Keed is the only one linking to Astaroth Prime from where they're attacking. And that planet has no megacities, so that one would be a 24-hour. And that biome is one of those hot and cold ones, so by day you lose more stamina and increased heat buildup, but by night you have a reduced rate of fire for your ballistics, but delayed heat buildup in your laser weapons. So depending on what time of day would obviously impact what kind of loadout you do want to take on that planet. York Supreme is the second mega city that we are rebuilding for those new Helldivers that joined after the invasion of Super Earth, say the Bugdivers. We had 7 mega cities because this was the introduction of those. So we had 7 mega cities that we had to fend, and as long as we held one, we would consider it victory. And this is where the Chinese divers really came in and helped us out. They saved equality on the sea from the siege of the Illuminate, and then we also saved the capital, Prosperity City, but obviously the president was killed during that, and immediate elections were held. And I'm sure everybody did their duty and made their votes on time. Just a tip, there was no votes actually in game for that. So we've already had one major order to rebuild one of the cities. Remembrance was rebuilt, but that was a much more robust major order where we had 5 different planets that we either had to capture or hold. When it started, we actually had to capture 2 and then hold them until the end, which was a 6-day major order. So 5 planets split between Terminid and Illuminate fronts. And then we also had to complete 5 million operations on medium or higher. So that was a very hard major order. Obviously, we did end up succeeding because they started the reconstruction of Remembrance and then put it to vote again. But this time we did have an input on Discord. You could have gone in and made your votes. And looks like the community decided to rename it as Gun instead of Remembrance. So that major order just felt like it took a lot more to actually rebuild the city. But I see exactly where Arrowhead is saying that there's no filler major order, since we do still have quite a few cities to rebuild on Super Earth. So they can use the time in between some maybe heavier story-driven major orders to kind of show the rebuild of Super Earth, just in case it gets ready for the next attack. Now, looking over at the bot front, Fenmire was very close to being liberated. There was a storm that went through there, apparently, and drastically increased the liberation percentage on that planet, and liberating that and starting the siege liberation of Borabos. I think Arrowhead did that because they realized that a lot of those bot divers tend to drop into the major order, and they just drift back to bots after any big major order. So they wanted to free up those divers to get over onto the Illuminate front. Now, they didn't do the same thing with Terek over on the Terminative front, probably because they know Bugdivers are going to be Bugdivers, and they wanted to make sure that they kept them occupied for a little bit more with Terek at least. And that's still going to take another couple days for that planet to liberate. Now, again, it does look like the gloom pulled back, and because of that, I'm not seeing the rupture strain on any maps right now, either on the companion app or on the Galactic War Table, which is really not saying anything since there's not much data on the War Table as it is. But you do have Spore Burst on one planet that we can dive on right now, and that's Nivell 43 inside the gloom. Absolutely no chance of us liberating that planet right now. Missing with this major update, which has been 2 months since it dropped, right? It dropped September 6th, and we don't have any Dragon Roaches, Hive Lords, or Rupture Strain anywhere on the map right now. And that's why I think they didn't really finish that storyline over on the Terminated front. It feels like they were trying to get some more balanced patches out there. Some people were still reporting issues on those Hive World biome planets. So they probably want to get some more kinks worked out before launching that next major order over there. But I will say that last December is when they dropped the Illuminate, and there has to be something big brewing, because in the second video that they posted this week, he did allude to some future content that's going to be coming very soon, and he's very excited to see what that's going to be. So maybe they finish out what the Illuminate should really be. But regardless of what new content they're going to be dropping into the game, I know I'm going to be super excited to play it. I always love seeing new things that come in that kind of disrupt what you're used to doing, changing up what your loadouts are going to be, and new enemies really change the dynamic of the battlefield. Like when the War Striders were shadow dropped, changed everything about how we were fighting the bots at the time. Now, I know there are some leaks out there that kind of allude to different units that are going to be added into the game, but if you haven't seen those, then please drop a comment down below. It kind of indicates where you think the game is going to be heading during the next story arc coming up. That's all I have for today. If you like this content, please hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the Warfront, Helldivers.